God bless you today. I mean it. May He bless you top to toes, inside and out. May He bless your thinking. May He bless your loving. May He bless your sleeping. May He lift you up. May He give you strength. You know He is watching over you, right? He's leading you. This is the promise, or one of the many promises found in the 23rd Psalm, that He leads us. He leads us beside the still waters. Boy, we could use some still waters. Now maybe your world is not as full of, not so full of white water rapids as many of us feel. If so, you may not need this message. Just let us know how to pray for you, and God bless you. But if you could stay around for about 5 minutes and think with me about this promise that comes from the 23rd Psalm, verses 2 and 3, He leads me. He leads me beside the still waters. These days feel more like a canoe trip over the Niagara than they do a picnic next to some calm waters. Yet this passage invites us to trust our shepherd's ability to lead us to a tranquil place where He can make us lie down in green pastures. Our shepherd, Jesus Christ, said, give your entire attention to what God is doing right now. And don't get worked up about what may or may not happen tomorrow. God will help you deal with whatever hard things come up when the time comes. I love that. From Matthew chapter 6 and verse 34. I think that last phrase is worthy of your highlighter. When the time comes. I don't know what I'll do if my loved one doesn't get better. You know what? You will when the time comes. How will I face it when the unemployment check stops coming? Well, you'll know when the time comes. The key is this: meet today's problems with today's strengths. Don't start tackling tomorrow's problems until tomorrow. You don't have tomorrow's strength yet. You just have enough for today. More than 80 years ago, a great Canadian man of medicine, Sir William Osler, delivered a speech to the students of Yale University entitled A Way of Life. In the message, he related an event which occurred while he was aboard an ocean liner. He describes the day that he was visiting with the ship's captain when all of a sudden a piercing alarm sounded, followed by this strange grinding and crashing sounds of gears below the deck. And the captain told him, oh, don't worry, those are our watertight compartments and they're closing. It's an important part of our safety drill, he said. In case of real trouble, any water leaking into one compartment would not be able to flow over into another department and would not affect the rest of the ship. He said even if we were to collide with an iceberg like the Titanic, the water would only fill that particular ruptured compartment and the ship would remain afloat. Now, years later, when he was recounting this to the students at Yale, Osler remembered that. And here's what he said. Each of you is certainly much more marvelous in your organization than that great liner, and you're bound on a far greater voyage. What I urge is that you learn to master your life by living each day in a day-tight compartment, and this will certainly ensure your safety throughout your entire journey of life. Touch a button and hear, at every level of your life, the iron doors shutting out the past, the dead yesterdays. Touch another and shut off with a metal curtain the future, the unborn tomorrows. Then you're safe for today. Think not about the amount that needs to be accomplished, the difficulties to overcome, but set earnestly at the task, the little task near your elbow, letting that be sufficient for the day. For surely our plain duty is not to see what lies dimly at a distance, but to do what lies clearly at hand. Now, Jesus made the same point in far fewer words. He just said, don't worry about tomorrow, because tomorrow will have its own worries. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Matthew 6 and verse 34. I close with this question. Why let tomorrow's problems rob tonight's rest? Can you prevent the pandemic by staying awake? Will you postpone a calamity by meditating on it? Of course not. The most spiritual thing you and I can do is give our concerns to God and go to sleep. God is leading us. He's leading us. And He's got some still waters waiting for you. Just leave tomorrow's problems until tomorrow. Arthur Sulzberger was the publisher of the New York Times during the Second World War. Can you imagine the chaos of his day? And because of the world conflict, he found it almost impossible to sleep. He was never able to banish worries from his mind until he adopted a certain motto, 5 words, one step enough for me. He took that from the hymn that's called Lead Kindly Light. The phrase goes, lead kindly light. Keep thou my feet, I do not ask to see the distant scene, one step enough for me. God's not going to let us see the distant scene either. So we might as well quit looking for it. He promises to be a lamp unto our feet, not a crystal ball into our future. We don't need to know what will happen tomorrow until tomorrow. We only need to know that we have a shepherd who leads us today. And He'll give us grace to help us when we need it. He will lead us beside some still waters. Amen.